All right, welcome back to the channel. Andre Ward and Jermall Charlo both check Eddie Hearn for Eddie Hearn's antics. Man, this dude is just, wow. He's amazing. But if you've been watching the news lately, the boxing news lately, Jermall Charlo and Andre Ward both clown Eddie Hearn over Eddie Hearn's antics. Let's discuss what they said and what those antics are in this video. All right, welcome back. Have you guys ever heard or of the concept that just because something is legal doesn't make it ethical? Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's ethical. Just because you can do something doesn't mean that you should do something. That if somebody if somebody is willing to play in that gray area, the gray area between, where, you're not clearly violating a rule, but you are walking on it and you're really killing the spirit of it, right? Because there's the letter of the law and then there is the spirit of the law. The letter of the law is what is actually written down on a piece of paper and people can interpret and argue what it means. The spirit of the law is what is the reason why they brought the law to begin with and what they were trying to accomplish. So when people walk the gray area, that's usually when they are not violating the letter of the law, but they are really running at odds with the spirit of the law. Similar to like circumstances where somebody might take a performance enhancing drug and you know that this steroid that's on the list, Dianabol, Dillian White, is illegal. So you can't take that, right? But somebody in Uzbekistan comes up with a variation of Dianabol by moving a molecule here or there that is not literally on or let's just use Meldonium, for example. There was a time when Meldonium was not on the list, but people were using Meldonium for the reasons that they would use other steroids. It just wasn't on the list yet. They weren't violating, knock on Alexander Povetkin. They weren't violating the letter of the law. They were violating the spirit of the law. So that's where we come to Eddie Hearn and his conversations that he had with Jermall Charlo, and some statements that he made about Shakur Stevenson. Now, note that both Jermall Charlo is represented by the PBC, and Shakur Stevenson is represented by James Prince, and I think he's co-managed by James Prince and Andre Ward. But yet, Eddie Hearn continues to have direct contact with fighters, encouraging them to take fights, letting them know that there's offers out there for them to take fights, and pretty much putting direct personal pressure on them to accept fights that he is offering them. Now, why is he able to do that with Jermall Charlo? Because Jermall Charlo does not actually have a promoter. He has Lions Only Promotion. He has an advisor in Al Heyman. With Shakur Stevenson, Shakur Stevenson does have a promoter, but yet and still, Eddie Hearn is out on Twitter talking about sending notes to Shakur Stevenson saying, hey, Shakur, we offered you a fight for Josh Warrington. We made a solid offer to your promoter. And so blah, 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 whatever. So this is a conversation that he's having with Shakur Stevenson in trying to make a fight, or at least claim he's trying to make a fight. That is, in my mind, even though it is not an actual negotiation, it is clearly putting in this guy's face and putting pressure directly to a boxer to make a fight. That is not against the rules, but it is definitely against the spirit of the rules, which is this: not to interfere with the contractual relationships between the promoter and the boxer. Now, did he make him an offer? Did he tell him not to sign with him? No. I mean, not to sign. Did he try to sign him? Did he try to schedule a fight for him? No. He didn't do any of the things that, as far as my understanding of it is, that would push him over the edge and make him susceptible to a claim that he had tortiously interfered with their contractual relationship. But he still does things consistently that are designed to step in between a promoter and a fighter. That to me is an interference, but it's not an interference by the letter of the law. It's an interference, it just violates the spirit of the law. So it was really, but he does this consistently, did it with Adrian Bronner, did it with Mikey Garcia, does it with, I don't think he's done it. Was he done it with Tank? I don't think he has anybody over there really that Tank to fight. But with Jermall Charlo and this Demetrius Andre thing and Shakur Stevenson and Josh Warrington, you could say, he's having these direct conversations. So I thought it was, number one, I think that's tacky. I think that you really want to have a good relationship with people and other promoters, if it's possible at all, you deal with the people that you know that they want you to deal with. So when Andre Ward responded to him, Andre Ward pretty much cussed him out. It was a Christian cutout. It was a Christian cuss out, because he said, look, Eddie, as we know, just because you think something is solid doesn't mean that his promoter or manager thinks it's solid. We don't want something solid for Shakur to go across any pond. It needs to be more than solid. Basically saying, and then he said, stay blessed. Now, I've been in church a lot in my life. Trust me, when some avid Christian says something like that to you and at the end of it says, stay blessed, he really means, fuck you. That's what he meant. If you don't know Grandma Baptist church speak, that's what that is, man. But the funnier one was when Jermall Charlo got on his site and all he did was punch. Like he ball hogged Eddie Hearn's Instagram, and he was like, you know who to call. He said, who do you want me to fight? Boo was punching the bag. But at the end of it, he said, man, stop fronting. You know who to call. You know who to call. And then Eddie Hearn pissed off at the end when Jermall Charlo hung up on him. He said something to the effect of, it must be nice to make all that money fighting nobody. And my thought was, really, Eddie? You're going to say something like that? Make a lot of money fighting nobody, dude. That sounds like DAZN's motto. It used to be pay-per-view. It went from pay-per-view to dead is to from pay-per-view is dead, right, to come to the zone so you can make a lot of money fighting nobody. And if you don't believe me, go look at Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin is about to making $35 million a fight. For fighting absolutely trash. This next fight that he's going to have, and that's why I said, oh man, I'm not going to fight Canelo Alvarez next. You promised me this fight against whoever it is, Simnimenkov or somebody. You promised me that fight. I get that fight. So before Gennady Golovkin fights Canelo Alvarez, Gennady Golovkin wants $35 million to fight a nobody. That to me sounds like the motto of DAZN. But anyway, I just think it's funny, man. I really do enjoy seeing Eddie Hearn. First, I love that a lot of the luster has been knocked off of Eddie Hearn. As much as I don't like the fact that, Deontay Wilder lost to Tyson Fury, and he lost to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury was a better dude that night. It is what it is. Cheat, non-cheat, whatever. It is what it is. There ain't no way getting around it. But, I don't like that he lost. I definitely, I wish that we still had, the potential of the Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder fight. That was a lot of fun, really fun conversations going on about that, for American boxing. But one thing that I will absolutely, positively, no way under the sun will I ever miss. And that is arrogant Eddie Hearn running off at the lips every 5 seconds, man. I went to IFL TV, and I don't know if it's IFL TV or if it's Eddie Hearn or if they just have a relationship, but man, there must be 30 interviews with Eddie Hearn conducting the interview. But, Eddie Hearn likes to be on the camera more so than any promoter that there is in the world. I'm sure it's worked well for him at times, but for me, I just find it really, really irritating. And just from as somebody that is I deal in agreements, striking agreements with people, helping people, craft agreements in a way that are fair for both parties, and where both parties get what they want out of it. I really do appreciate the process of negotiation, and I am just not a fan of a bad faith negotiator. And that's what Eddie Hearn is, man. That dude is just somebody that negotiates in bad faith. He's playing all kind of games with your he tries to play games with the internal operations of organizations that he's dealing with. It's just some underhanded stuff, man. And to see, just to see those guys clown him like that, man, I think was beautiful, because it's beyond those two organizations. That is ESPN. Those are the two top organizations. It's Top Rank and it's the PBC. I've not necessarily seen him do that to a Golden Boy fighter, but man, I wouldn't doubt at all if he wouldn't do the same thing with Canelo if he could get an opportunity to. And I bet if I look at it closely enough, he probably has done it with Canelo. But anyway, it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.